G'day guys, Caleb from Navigate Travel. Today I'm going to walk you around our Black Series Alpha, 3.5 years on. So we bought this at the start of 2017, it's now getting towards the end of 2020. So the first time, I'm going to show you what I love about it and why we bought it. The second time, I'm going to show you all the problems we've had with it and all the things that have gone wrong. Now, the third time, I'm going to show you what we've done and what we've changed on it. Our trailer is a 2017 Black Series Alpha soft floor camper. Now, we bought it, started 2017 after a lot of deliberation. We're looking at really expensive trailers, medium price trailers, and then the cheap trailers, the sub 10 grand trailers. Now the reason we chose the Alpha, mainly, is because of all the storage on it. So, you got all these lockers, right? Plenty of room to store stuff. Plenty of drawers. And all easy access to. So not only all the storage, so it's got power. I believe it's a 100 amp hour battery, but I'll double check that. So like, we definitely want power, that's cool. Got water, 80 litre water, stainless water tank. And then you got this monster drawer on the inside, which we're like, that's cool. On the drawbar, talking about storage, it's got 2 gas bottle holders. It's got dual jerry can holders. So on top of that, big canvas tent, plenty of storage room, water, and the idea was that we're going to be able to leave all our camping stuff in it and just hook up and go camping. With being realistic, we thought we should be able to use this at least once a month. I can tell you that's very much not the case. So I reckon our trailer has probably done, let's call it 20 trips. In 3.5 years, I reckon we've done 20 local trips. And then we've taken it to Fraser once. So we first bought the Alpha when we had our 4th child and we were getting rid of our ute. So we knew that we were going to have to be taking a trailer camping. We knew we were going to have to do things differently. So at the time, it seemed like the right thing to do. I said to Kel, we'll use this all the time. You just don't, and you won't. What I don't love about it, so the biggest thing I hate about this camper trailer, the trailers ride like crap. So they do have suspension under them, but the suspension's rubbish. It's quite a heavy trailer and you don't realise it. We had it weighed recently, and I believe we were pretty much at its max capacity, which is like 1,400 kilos. So the paint on the stone guard just chipped and fell off. Now, this is my attempt at repainting it, it's pretty ordinary. With them sections, I can forgive the paint coming off because, well, after all, it's stones that the car's flicking up that's chipping it off. But you look at the rest of it, and it's actually got paint flaking off it in places where you wouldn't expect. And this isn't new. This has been doing it since new. So in drawers, on the back, this was one of the first places, and I actually did try and paint it. You'd expect better of a brand new trailer, but for me, I just went, oh well, it is what it is. So the next thing that happened, we've got 2 hinges, metal hinges that fold down on this flap for the big drawer. So there was one here. Now this actually somehow managed to get caught up and bend. And we nearly had to break the door to get into the trailer. From there, on the front toolbox, it's got these little trap doors for poles. Now this door actually broke off. And I went, oh well, I'll eventually change the toolbox. Box broke. And then most recently, one of the jerry can holders broke. I don't know if you can see that, but it's dislodged at the top. So for me, I just went, oh well, who cares? It's a cheap trailer. But the problem with this is that that's what happens. You go, oh well, everything, you go, oh well, it's a cheap import trailer, I expect it to break. You just don't look after it as good as what you should. Because at the end of the day, it's still a $9,000 trailer. So there was a quick fitting for the kitchen tap, and the kitchen tap didn't actually work. So it'd pump air because it couldn't get a suction on the water tank because it's a hand pump. So this is looking in the wheel at the brakes. So this cable here is for the park brake. On the back of the drum, it had this guide. So the cable's set in this guide, and that's for the park brake to pull on. So with that, it actually got wedged in there and held the brake just on enough for it to heat up. So it heat up and burn itself out and disintegrated everything. So I rang up Black Series and I said, hey, I need to make a warranty claim. This is what happened. So I told him and explained it. The only issue with that was it took me like 4 months to get that brake drum. So whilst I can understand that something may potentially happen to these trailers from brand new, for me it was just disappointing it took so long to get parts. So the after sales service was just crap. Like, brand new trailer, and I mean brand new, like it was 3 or 4 months old and we couldn't use it for 4 months. So again, oh well. So the carpet in the back, it started peeling up. So I just siliconed it back down. The zips on the cover, they fail, they're crap. They're not a heavy duty zip. Now I'm not gonna lie, our trailer's been stored outside its whole life, but it's always been covered with a tarp. So we've always put a tarp over it, and the tarp's covered the whole of the tent. Now, the first issues we started having with the cover was obviously that zip failing. And we went, oh, okay, this is crap, but we can live with it. The next thing we'll cover, and what it does is it's just like a dome that goes over top of the tent. So when it rains, it helps shed the water. It's like a waterproof cover that goes over like your normal cheap tent you'd buy from BCF. But so one thing I found, once all the nylon fell apart and I couldn't have that tropical roof on, the tent started to pull water on the roof. And so with the water pooling on the roof, it started to seep through the tent and make it not as waterproof. So whilst it's a, oh well, something a little failed, it actually wrecks the whole tent. So we're at this point now where, yeah, like, don't get me wrong, yeah, the tent's still usable, like, and you could camp in light rain and it will keep you dry, but if you get a day of rain or 2 days of rain, you'd be starting to think about, you know what, just pack up and go home. But then what happened is, all this nylon perishes. Nylon I was talking about, that just falls apart. See? Now, all that nylon was always under the cover. So it amazed me that it just fell apart. And when I say fell apart, it was like powder. So I don't know what grade of nylon it is or what it is, but it's just rubbish. So from there, what actually happened is these tie downs for the cover, same thing, had the same nylon. It had some 2 D-rings in it. But a D-rings on it like that, flap of plastic, pull it tight, so when you drive along the highway, it's not flapping in the breeze. Now what actually happened with ours is they all started to break off one by one. Same thing, just perished, turned to dust. So, which initially I didn't think was a big issue. But one thing I've learned, well actually in this one here too, I just completely pulled that off. The one thing I learned is that if your cover's not tight and it flaps around, which I didn't realise at the time, but I realise this now, it actually flogs out. So, if you look under here, you get this nice nylon, as it should be, waterproof, beautiful. Now at the top, it's all dry and crispy and just turned to crap. So I think that's partly because it was never secured. So then obviously it starts to get holes in it and literally just falls apart. That is the main tent set up on the upper. So, as you can see, we've got a few stains from under trees. We've actually got a bit of old mould as well. So, this is what I mean. The tent's going to need to be replaced eventually. What I love, right? So, this is standing at the back wall looking through the tent. So, it is actually quite a big, decent tent. Like, we're a family of 6. There's enough room here. Love that. So, we put a set of bunks down each side. So, that's for the kids. And then, obviously, me and Cal sleep up the top to access the drawers. Don't mind, it is a bit dirty in here at the moment. So, you can imagine, so it hits the bloody tent. So, with nothing in here, and the tent not pegged down, it seems easy, but with that corner of the tent pegged down, it's actually impossible to get into these lockers. These sky windows, one thing I've found with these windows is you get condensation between the bloody window and the canvas. Like the amount of times we've unfolded that and it's been damp, it's just crap. As you can see, the stitching tearing away a bit. This is that nylon I was talking about that just falls apart. See? It literally just perished, like it's, but it all did that to us. So this was where the tropical roof went. It just clipped in there and clipped over the top of the tent. But what happened was the nylon straps that held it in place, they started tearing apart. Basically anything made out of this nylon just started perishing and started going to crap. But don't get me wrong, I still do like this tent. But you can see it is a lot of tent on the ground. These little bits of tassels as well, let's call them tassels. So every zip I put these bits of red rope on because there's just so many zips and it's so hard to pull it when you feel like you're going to break them. It makes it so much easier to pull the zips. Now the tap that was not much good. The fitting was actually letting air into the system which wouldn't let it pump. So what we did, we just went into Bunnings literally to the garden section, got some of these plastic fittings that you'd use for a reticulated sprinkler and put them on with some hose clamps. Haven't had a drum with it since. Now one of the other things we changed, we put power inside. So the reason we put power inside, we did that when we went to Fraser because we wanted to take 2 fridges with us and worked out that obviously one of the fridges was going to go in the trailer because of all the kids. A couple of round holes below the bed base, again for when we're at Fraser so we can power phones and stuff like that from inside the tent. Other than like dodgy hinges and fixing things, we ended up putting our bike rack on the front of the drawbar because I didn't like the bikes on the back flapping around. And then obviously with the bikes on the back, every time you want to open the kitchen you need to take the bikes off, which is a pain. So whilst I don't like the extra weight over the drawbar, it's the practical place to put them. And then obviously I've tried to touch it up and paint a few things, but again, I'm not a painter. Most recently, we changed the suspension. You go and buy a Black Series trailer or any import trailer for that sense. They've got all these gimmicks. Oh, it comes with $5,000 worth of free stuff. But it's all crap and it's all just, it's not free stuff. It's just what you'd expect as a standard inclusion, like a water tank, a bash guard for that tank, a battery. So don't get caught up in the gimmicky stuff because anything else that does come with it, like generally speaking, it's rubbish. It's not very good stuff. What I've found for us is we've had all these oh well moments. So for one reason or another, something's happened, something's broken, something's failed, something hasn't worked as it should. And you just accept it. And you accept it because you go, it's an import trailer that cost me half the price of an Aussie built one. And that's what makes me start to think, it's probably really not that good. It's just you lower your standards based on what you've got. But so when you look at all these things combined, you go, is this trailer worth keeping? And then on top of that, soft floor trailers, they're a pain in the ass. Everyone was right, 100% right. My advice, if you're going to buy a camper trailer, don't buy a soft floor trailer. So even with all these little things that have gone wrong, all these flaws, I still don't hate it. I've still got a soft spot deep down for the Black Series Alpha. I've thought about selling it a heap of times and I just can't bring myself to do it. I still somewhat like it. At the end of the day, I am glad that we bought an import soft floor trailer because if we bought an Aussie built one, we would have invested a lot more money into it. And the things I don't really like about the trailer, about the soft floor, I still have the same issues. So it's probably a good thing. I'm at a crossroads with the Black Series Alpha. Do we keep it, tidy it up, fix it up, change the cover, change the tent? We'll probably get a little bit more life out of the tent end. I think we get away with that. But do we keep it, fix it up, tidy it up, paint it, modify it? Or do we bite the bullet and get rid of it? So now you've seen what's wrong with it, now you've seen its flaws. Kel's opinion's pretty strong on this one, but I'd like to hear your thoughts. What do you reckon? Keep it, fix it, tidy it up, or just flick it? I'd like to hear your thoughts and opinions, so comment them below. Other than that guys, until next time, go travel.